We'll call the meeting of the Enosburgh Select-Board to order at 6:05 on 11/4/2024. Do we, any changes to the agenda for anyone? Good. Alright. We'll ask, there any public comment? Assuming unless one of us does, we don't have. Alright.
Roaring right down through.
Seeing no public comments. Whenever you're ready, Bethany, we're ready for you.
Perfect. Ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
You just pass these around. There's not much text. Just pass those. That's what you want. There should have been 8 copies. Did everyone get one? Perfect.
You're target?
No, she's just taking them all to herself. Larry has a time with her doing stuff like that.
I thought it was just a very large packet. Oh wait, one more.
We'll probably get this thing.
I'm good, I have one, I guess.
Oh, this is better.
Yeah, there isn't. There's a couple of bullets, but so essentially on Thursday, October 31st, V-Trans came back and gave the amount that they said they'll be requiring the town to pay back, which is $81,096.12. It does not include any costs from preliminary engineering, PE, design, or right-of-way, which you didn't have right-of-way costs, but it was specifically the expenditures for construction. And they would be then sending an invoice to the town. So that is, we got that notice. Adrian was on that email exchange and he had some follow-up questions. The big thing was he wanted to clarify, because it was just an email from John Lemieux, who's been our V-Trans project manager this whole time, just stating this. Ed clarified with the attorney working for V-Trans that this started the clock for the 15-day appeal period if the town elects to appeal the decision to the transportation board. So because the email came on Thursday, the town would need to appeal by November 15th, 2024, and that's why Billy Joe got us on the agenda, because there wouldn't be a regularly scheduled select board meeting prior to that appeal period. So what I just included below the appeal deadline of November 15th is language specifically from statute talking about project cancellation and the process for appealing to the transportation board, which is section B. And I won't read the whole thing, but it says within 15 days of an agency determination, which you've gotten now, you have your determination of payback, that the municipality may petition the board for a hearing to determine if cancellation of the project was due to circumstances or events in whole or in part outside the municipality's control. And the board shall hold a hearing on the petition within 30 days of its receipt and shall issue an appropriate order within 30 days thereafter. Hey Joey.
How are you?
I'm good. So what the town would need to decide tonight is whether you're going to want to appeal to the Transportation Board prior to or by November 15th. And then, if you do decide that, then it would be a matter of, making the case of, once there is a hearing, the reasons that you think that cancellation of the project was in part or wholly outside of your control.
So when you say hearing, is that something Ed and you attend, just Ed, the board?
So that's gonna be a question for Ed. I've only been to the Transportation Board hearings with a municipality when they've appealed a speed limit decision on a state highway. So I haven't seen them, and that definitely was not an attorney thing, so I don't know whether it's just the municipality and I could attend with you, or if it's something that attorneys typically attend. But definitely, they would want, in knowing, again, this is only based on speed limits, which
Right.
seems silly in comparison to
Well,
this,
there's still a hearing.
is that I think that having a municipal presence participating, and I believe that they have a virtual option now, but that always was important when it came to speed hearings, that the municipality cared and participated.
So if they did go ahead with the hearing, regardless of how it was and who had to attend, that there's a board that would listen to somebody and potentially lower the amount of repayment if they saw reasonable cause of the cancellation.
And that's what's written in statute, is that it would make a determination of, what proportion of the costs were outside of your control. And this all came in, and I was out on Friday, and so I haven't got to ask Ed, what is the harm in appealing?
It's just a few dollars this time.
And I don't see any, if you think that the case can be made. I don't think there's danger for appealing.
There's just lawyer costs, that's really
Yeah,
it. I mean, it's
right.
worth a shot.
I don't think you got much to lose.
And maybe wake up the state a little bit to say, hey, maybe somebody needs to take a closer look at some of this stuff that the people who bid said, maybe they have to have a whole person who just does that.
So the 81,000 is roughly how much of what we've paid or what we've received, I guess?
Oh,
It's
like,
the federal portion.
yes, the federal portion of the construction, and let me see if I can find the PE costs. Actually, would be an easier way to find it.
and the federal portion isn't what was supposed to be paid back?
So the
What portion, what is that portion you talked about
yep, so what I've been talking about,
Yeah.
or harping about for the last many months, is the town not paying back any of the preliminary engineering costs, and that they have not asked the town to pay back any preliminary engineering costs.
So does that make us not eligible to do something?
Cause there was an
on that
email,
other end?
came from the state or something that said these preliminary funds were not gonna have to be paid back. Wasn't there something like that there was something handed down during this process, why they couldn't take the whole chunk?
Yeah, I think it might have been the emails that Ed had with the attorney
Yeah,
when they had an initial estimate of what the payback would be, was the V-Trans attorney saying that they weren't gonna be asking for the preliminary engineering and the V-Trans staff costs that they would have been billing to the project from the beginning.
Yeah, I think what Larry's talking about is what was handed down that kind of midstream, like they made the,
Like an offer?
no,
they made like they changed
the ruling
what
where,
the paybacks would be for the federal, for the state share.
You talked about this right here.
yeah, I think it is in there.
Yeah, that's the federal memo that talks
Right,
about
yeah.
the change at the federal level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
so that's why a lot of it wasn't
ask for it.
asked for and back, because
Yeah.
they can't.
I will say
Because
at
they're
no,
doing us a favor.
at no point, and it continues, at no point has V-Trans said, we're not asking for it back because of the federal change.
Right.
Right,
They're vague by design.
Gotcha.
yeah. Nice.
Are there any statistics, Bethany, and maybe I can look it up too, but, like, for, like you said, speed limits, but has this issue been brought to the board? Has there been, like, appeals that have gone the other, like,
Yeah, no, it's
succeeded?
a great question, and I went a couple of months ago, I went through all the transportation board minutes for the past 5 years, and I did not see any cases of a town appealing.
Okay, so there's really not a lot to really
Yep.
for or against, yeah.
That's interesting.
It is interesting, which makes me think, okay, is it somewhere else? I was just on the transportation board and then their agendas and their minutes, so I think that that's something, if the town is going before, that we should ask that question specifically. Because I was quite
I'm
surprised.
curious, like, if it's all been denied,
Well, I
if
think
there's
sometimes
past-
people don't understand that there always was the statute that says you can ask for forgiveness, or you can ask for some of these fees to be waived. I think that sometimes they just don't.
They just accept
They don't
them.
have it that in.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing if I can find,
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry that I don't have
I'm
the old
sorry.
invoices with me to give you a sense of what those engineering costs were. Oh, you have it memorized, you have numbers in your head.
Come on, Joyce, go down.
We talking this?
I had a number in my head, but I didn't want to throw it out.
Yes, right? Is that,
So I, like
You're talking
like
just
you guys are
construction?
stating before making an appeal,
this is just construction.
I
Yeah.
feel
Yes.
we should go ahead, and
Maybe
if nothing else, we can make the statement that all these times that the bids went out, V-Trans had their eyes on this same thing, and 3 times, you guys, I wanna make them aware that you guys also missed
Yeah.
this negligent, dollars value of rebar that makes this project go out, and having that on record somewhere is in front of them, maybe it'll help us to reduce it. Who knows?
I think it's definitely worth a shot.
Maybe they will increase it. I can't, right?
I don't think that would.
I,
I mean, once the offer's out there,
That'd be the only downfall, I guess.
yeah,
what else it doesn't look good?
Is that anything?
Yep, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, so the preliminary engineering charges were, expenditures I should say, were $76,630. And so it's that's not being asked back. And then also the V-Trans staff costs, which we don't know what that is,
right.
but thank you.
I can't think straight tonight, but what does number 3 mean? Like, may not be mutually exclusive.
Oh,
from
yeah. So we're talking about, options for the select board, accepting the payback amount and just paying it back, doing this appeal to the to the transportation board, and then number 3 is the pursuing damages from the consultants.
So that can be separate no
Yeah,
matter what.
that can be separate no matter
Okay,
what.
gotcha.
And I don't think you have to decide on that
Okay.
tonight,
For some reason, I
but
couldn't, yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the offer of this is not to protect the engineer.
no, this is
When you
just,
say it may not be mutually exclusive.
yeah, and Ed added that comment when I emailed when we were saying, okay, what does the board actually have to do tonight? And I just did out these 3 options, and he just wanted to be clear that number 3, like you could do number 3, even if you didn't appeal,
Okay, that
or
makes sense.
you can do the appeal and not go do number 3.
So I don't think we have much to lose by appealing.
When would that be? Like next, like after the holidays, before the?
So that's the thing with timing. So
probably-
it is,
30 days after, I see.
yeah, 30 days after. So if you do it right now, they would have to hold the hearing, you know, by
Within-
December 5th. If you waited and submitted it on the 14th, you know, that would get you another week or so.
And that's, where is that? Is that right in like Burlington, the hearing?
Oh, well, I don't know where they hold it now. I mean, I imagine it's the Berry.
But it's not like Zoom meetings or anything.
Oh, I believe they do Zoom.
I think it was on here somewhere that said
I
that.
didn't even read
Let me, when I went to their, I
I think
believe,
most places
it. Have
have
Zoom,
that.
okay.
yeah. But it's Berry or Montpelier
Okay.
is where the board meets. Transportation, board, trans.
If we don't have anything to lose, I guess it's worth a shot.
I mean, it was out of our control. That's what it's saying, and we can make I think, a pretty good argument with that.
And this is where I think I need to book some time, like, 'cause in order to get the material together, and get Ed's opinion on what is worth the town, you know, presenting, is I don't know if, you know, how expansive it get. Like, do you get into the details of like,
Technical.
okay, out of X amount of salt sheds, like, how many have been completed using these funds? You know, like, you know, there was extra money, you know, there's money specifically in, there, I should say that back differently. There was money, that would have been eligible in the causeway funding,
Right,
but they decided to make a policy decision limiting salt sheds specifically because of, they're called, like, basically the Enosburgh rule.
yeah.
You know, so how granular should we be getting with the argument? Does that confuse the issue, or should we be presenting everything? And that's really getting Ed's opinion.
But also how much out of our control, how much things changed from when we started to when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And everything's skyrocketed, and then you throw all the engineering baloney in there.
And then nobody catching any of the mistakes.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
a lot.
the funding and the grants never caught up with the expenditures for sure,
Right.
which is not our main reason for not doing it. It was the miscalculations.
We could probably
and
start with something
problem.
like, you know, a percentage wise. The town would have been responsible for this percentage wise at the beginning of
Yeah.
all the quotes. And up to that point, that percentage now had risen 15% more, 20% more, whatever. You know, and it wasn't done. It could be 50% more.
So would it,
Is that common? That everybody that has these are they gonna have to pay that percentage higher?
Yeah, and all the adjustments along the way were getting way out of control.
Yeah,
Yeah, the anticipation of that causeway money being available, I know we made a decision there at one time.
Yep.
Because it sounded like we had a good chance of getting it.
Yeah.
Because there's like, 3 projects that qualified, and ours was like one of the 3, and there's money enough there to fund all 3 projects. So I think that was decisions kept us moving in the forward direction, anticipating on getting that. And I guess some of it's our fault, we shouldn't have planned on it, but it kind of sounded like we had a good chance of getting it. And then
I don't think it's our
us-
fault. I mean, I think it's,
Well, they
they made the criteria for these salt sheds so expensive that we need multiple grants. I don't mean, we're just doing what we had to do.
Yeah, and they made this policy midstream that we could have been told about, that
Right.
you're not gonna get that because we passed a policy a year ago that says that you're not going to, so. So,
because of your situation, because of your
Yeah.
specific town, we developed this
They tell your
policy.
hands in these grants, they don't let you use local people and use common sense, but
but
also.
that kept us moving forward too, because we probably maybe would have backed out. Probably would have backed out if we hadn't thought that was gonna happen.
Yeah, because if that money
was
wasn't there, we already said that we were done.
Right,
We're walking away.
right, that was said.
Well, and throughout this process, I mean, from the very, very beginning, you know, the town, the other thing that you were facing as the town is if we don't go to construction, we have to pay back the engineering. And that message was fairly consistent throughout, and because you had $70-some thousand and you would have had to pay back into a salt shed. So, you know, the fact of the matter is, you know, where that policy either being released about payback was coming as you were going out to bid for the third time. And again, you know, if the town had that knowledge, would you have gone out to bid knowing that even without hitting all the issues that you did during construction, if my memory serves right, it was definitely a stressful time making that decision to go out to bid the third time.
Yes.
Like but the town felt like their hands were tied because of that payback provision for preliminary engineering.
Which was already in effect at that time, but not brought to us, correct?
For the third time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you had mentioned it, because you got in the memo and you had mentioned it, but they just kinda like didn't acknowledge that it was actually a thing.
It was after the bid that I found out about it.
Okay.
I mean, it was, but it was, what's the date on that memo for the FHW? I think I might have it too.
December 9th,
And I
oh,
think,
22.
yep, but I think that was when it was either, I was looking it up and it was either like the day your bids were due or the day that you released your third bid.
Yep.
So I think as far as timing, like, of course, timing isn't great. You know, it's gonna happen in December, either November or December, but it is what it is. I think what we would need next is if the town did a motion, if you wanted to appeal, and then I would email that and let V-Trans know about the appeal. I'd touch base with Ed first, with UCC being like, this was the decision, and who do we notify?
If it goes anywhere, or even if they get nothing and it just educates everybody, it's worth
Right,
something.
I think that's always worth something.
I wonder if we can put a caveat on the motion, like notwithstanding any ill-advised from Ed, like, cause I thought last time when we met with him that he was like, oh, this is a good deal, you know, like maybe,
I think he was saying
I
that
don't
in
remember.
there is a good deal from that lady from V-Trans
okay,
perspective.
so there's no like,
Yeah.
nothing that will cause,
He's saying she was, that's what I understood, that she was translating that to him, well, this is a really good deal. And on a whole, it does look like a great deal, because it's, this, what was it, 200,000 or something, and here's only 81, but then when you get to,
okay, I couldn't remember.
you know,
exactly.
preliminary engineering, really, you know, that's a wipeout anyways, it's like, the deal isn't as big as it looks, so.
Yeah, no,
but
that
he-
makes sense, I couldn't remember what he was talking about, but.
Will this give us a black eye for grants or any other projects down the road?
Better.
You know, I think, you know, John Lemieux, our project manager, you know, in the email, and I included all the email back and forth with Ed and V-Trans and Billy Joe, just so you have it. You know, he said that he would look forward to working with the town in the future.
Most of unless we go into another grant.
Hope we can work with the county and work on future infrastructure
This
projects.
type of program, most of the programs, these same people are involved in it's like our structures grants and paving, the class 2.
Yeah, that's all state dollars, it's all out of the district and other folks.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we
Grants
went,
and aid, all that's all out of the local state stuff there, it's not the same group of people.
Well, grants and aid is out of this department now.
Is it?
It is, but it's in better roads as well. No, everyone's, I think everyone's a professional in that
Well,
regard.
it's one of those things of,
Especially after they hear what you have to say.
well,
Yeah.
it's that, and at the same time, it's gonna be one of those of maybe these, they should be paying attention to what they're signing and looking at it, and not just,
I think it's good education for everybody, regardless of the outcome.
I'll move that we appeal, or how, what do we wanna do again? Appeal?
Appeal the repayment decision,
Yeah, the repayment decision,
81.
on the tab, TA 17, parentheses 7, and STPMM 19, parentheses 12, project.
Did you have a question,
Now.
Larry? For-
No, it doesn't
Adjourn.
pertain to the motion.
Oh, okay, I second.
And moved and seconded to appeal the repayment of V-Trans repayment request of 81,096.13 on the salt, sand and salt shed project. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? It passes. Unanimous.
So, on the 15-day appeal period, do you not count the 31st, or do you count the 31st? So is it gonna actually be the 14th, not the 15th?
So
There's
Ed,
15 days, so
Yeah.
do we send it in on the 13th to make sure?
Yeah, I think you buy
Send it in
Bethany
to-
some time to gather her stuff, if you can buy her a week.
But I don't wanna end up saying,
Right.
well, this 15 days, well, you didn't count the 31st. If you count the 31st, then 14 is the 14th of November makes the 15th day.
yeah, Ed, I think was trying to get to that,
You put it up here.
Because the
15th 's a
email said something about Thursday, received the email on Thursday and time will run from then. Well, Thursday's 30th, ain't it, or is it 31st?
that was the 31st, so that'd be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th,
That's
7th,
2
8th,
weeks
9th,
from-
10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th.
And-
So that's why Ed was,
And Ed
coming back to
said,
the
Ed
15th.
says in this email, the first day and the appeal will need to be filed by the 15th. I would just send it in a day early.
Yeah, just to be sure.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
But, yeah, to give you time, definitely.
well, and the thing
Together.
is that they have to do a hearing
Within 30 days.
within 30 days, so that
But-
could be
but-
the next day, I mean, that could be a couple
Exactly,
days
so if you
after.
don't have your stuff together before you send it in, cause they say, oh, well, if that's the way they're gonna be, just do it tomorrow. Then you're gonna scramble to get your stuff together, so it's better to,
Well,
get
if
it
they have
together
to do
before
anything
the
like the
appeal.
rest of us with open meetings and stuff, they do have to
Yeah.
give you a few days.
There'll be time, but there's something to be said about, when you're done with me, I'll go over there, I'll email Ed with Billy Joe CC'd, and then just ask them that question of should we be, is there an advantage to doing it just a couple of days before the 15th as opposed to tomorrow? And any other questions? Well, I'm sorry, you guys are in a motion. I'll
No,
stop.
sorry, no.
It's
Oh,
all-
it's all good? Okay, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So I'll ask Ed about the timing of submitting it. There seems to be a question of whether that's something that he would need to participate in or just help prepare for.
If you want, board members to be present, like either one or two or all, I don't know if that's like an Ed question, or if that's like, you can let us know that, like, what you think about the V-Trans. what they think.
Okay. And I also just don't know how to notify them if it is just back to John Lemieux, since he's the one that gave you the official, this is the payback amount, or if there's someone else that has to get notified.
You mean like the lawyer that he was working with?
Yeah, who receives the official notice of appeal. Any other questions for Ed on that regard?
I guess, what are we looking for out of this? Just giving all of it, part of it, whatever we can, right?
I think, and then after that, then we have to, whatever the final that they send, now we gotta request that from the engineer. Or partial or something, because
I think we should go after the engineers for their full amount, if not more, because they didn't do anything of value to it for us. No matter what the insurance does. But that's my opinion.
No.
Yeah, we need to take some off,
Yeah.
give us another deal.
So just out of curiosity, I mean, here we are, we're talking,
it's too bad we weren't closer to Josh's place.
you know, this John Lemieux.
That
So-
property would make a good place to do all your business. If it was located here.
Yeah,
Who's,
I guess Richford's thinking of
Who's
it,
Mr.
because they're
Prego?
also-
is that right?
Because they're gonna be
Pardon?
building
who's Mr. Prego?
some shed or something, and
They're supposed to build a new town garage, I think.
Municipal Assistance Program Manager.
That's Joel Perigo?
Yeah. So he's same department or,
Yeah, so he's the head of the municipal assistance section, which is the section of V-Trans that gave you this grant. So he is John Lemieux's boss.
okay. We notify him too or not?
I can ask Ed that, of whether it just goes to John or Joel
I just
as
don't
well.
want it falling on deaf ears, you know, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, I
You know,
don't,
it's one of those things of, seeing how he's the one that sent this, I don't know, this statement to us, to our chairperson, that, you know, I don't know. It's- People up above have to be accounted for.
Yep.
So it's like, probably CC the guy.
Yeah,
Personally.
which is fine, and I just don't know if Ed will want to notify the attorney that, since he's been working attorney to attorney.
yeah.
Right.
So whether I send it to the attorney or if Ed does, but
Yeah, but
we'll get those details out.
the attorney's someone different though.
Yeah, it's Melissa.
That's Melissa.
Yep, and she is the V-Trans, she's the attorney out of the Attorney General's office who is working with V-Trans.
Right.
Her
Well, that'll be up
last name
to
sounds
them to
familiar,
get her
Horowitz.
involved.
Yep,
It's not, yeah.
Horowitz sounds familiar. There's somebody higher up and running in the state with that last name for the state positions. Horowitz.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay.
yep, absolutely.
Cool, thank you.
So, I don't know what your select board meeting schedule is. I'm not available on the 18th, which is probably your next one.
It is.
And so is the one after that December 2nd?
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Well, may,
And we can
I mean,
always,
just a suggestion, we maybe bump the 18th to 25th, if the 25th work better for you?
I can do
Or would
the,
you prefer December?
I mean, I can do the 25th, but I know that gets into the holiday week for folks, and so I don't wanna mess up your meeting schedule just for me. Cause the other option is for some reason, if they come back quick and there's a hearing, then there's nothing to say. Like, I think just making sure that Ed can zoom in to the 18th.
Okay.
if it looks like it's gonna move quickly, but if we can, I'll put a placeholder on December 2nd select board meeting as well.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you for your hard work, Bethany.
Yeah. Now,
We appreciate
now are
it.
you, what do you need from us to get together before we go to any hearings or anything? Bethany,
Well-
what should we be?
Well, I wanna have a discussion with Ed to talk about, okay, these are all the things that the board has been talking about, the extenuating circumstances that you've been talking about. And get those bulleted for Ed and kinda get his thoughts of like, yes, yes or no, which ones would be good, and then I think that has to come back to you all to review, to be comfortable with what points are gonna be made. Does that sound, and that's again, like, why I'm looking at the November 18th or December 2nd, because I think it's important for you to see that.
Yes.
Well, cause December 2nd, the hearing could potentially be done by then, right? Like if that's within the 30 days, that would be a couple weeks after.
Yeah, which is why it might just be, if Ed can participate on the 18th, and we have some bulleted items for you
Okay.
guys to go
So the
over with him.
18th.
So that's why I'm just trying to come up with those,
Yeah.
Well, you know,
the
if
contingency
if
plans.
something comes up before our scheduled meeting, we just ask for
Yeah,
Yeah.
a special
Have a
meeting.
Yeah.
yep,
Good.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Thank you, Bethany.
I will go email him now before I leave.
Thank you. You didn't know this project was gonna be this much fun.
Just keeps on giving and giving.
Probably never see the end of it.
Don't say that, Joey.
Alright. Alright, so everybody good? We'll move on to Garrett.
I got a
Or-
driveway application
okay,
here
yeah.
if you guys can.
Wanna do
I
that?
got some, probably executive session stuff to talk about
Okay.
after.
Good.
I don't know if you wanna take care of it all at one time, or
Be quick. Will it?
this is just a driveway application
Yeah.
here, so.
You wanna do that so
Yep.
that we can move on?
Bill Patty. I haven't put in any details yet or conditions underneath any of the lines there because a lot of it's gonna depend upon, he's subdividing like a 5-acre parcel between his house and Pat Valancourt's sugar house in that meadow. And he's had state people there, and there's wetlands on both sides of where he wants to put the driveway. So he can't hear, but he can in this area. And there's actually like a high point in the ditch there. If he puts it there, he wouldn't need a culvert. But unfortunately, there's a bank that goes pretty much up pretty high there away from the road, so they'd have to cut the bank way back quite a ways and open it up from room for ditches. It's gonna take a lot more excavation work, but he said whoever he ends up, he doesn't plan on doing any of this himself. He just wants to get it ready for surveying and get it all to the sewer design and everything, so then he plans on selling the parcel to someone else and let them deal with it. He said maybe they'll wanna pay, I guess, put it in an area where the wetlands is, it's an option, but you gotta pay an extra, I don't know if you gotta pay a fine or what you gotta pay.
But
You
the
gotta
thing
pay
is,
something, a way to do it.
but the thing is that if you put it in a high spot where he's gotta do the excavating, is it written in there that, this is based on whose recommendation? The engineer, you, as to how far back you would have to take the bank down?
Yeah, I don't think the
Or what that
engineer would-
determination is, or who determines that? And I'm thinking more so of,
Isn't there driveway slopes and stuff?
There is, I mean, we got a drawing on that last page of what it's supposed to be when it leaves the roads.
I'm just thinking of like, over here when Mike Ozell, was it? Bought a piece of property over by the Dairy Center,
Yeah,
and the state approved it, and it was like, I mean, you come around the corner,
Yeah, the
You go-
state
you
did,
go-
yeah,
but I'm just using that as an example, but it
Yeah.
was like, you know, with that.
we wouldn't have allowed it, the state did. But, yeah, it's not
But,
state
you know,
highway.
so on your end, you know, who makes that determination?
I think it would be us as the town. I don't think the engineer will have much to do with the driveway construction part of it, the location versus the well and the sewer and the house location of the driveway, but not so much the construction end of it.
But would he try to say we only got the rights where the right of way ends and that's it? He can do what he wants.
You know, you gotta match that. If you gotta put the right of way portion in like this, you can't just then go like that. I mean, he's gotta.
Well, I know, but
No, no, I don't think I have any say beyond the right of way, really.
But isn't there driveway requirements on slope and stuff for driveways?
Yeah, I'd have to look. I don't know
There
about.
used to be when we were on the planning commission, I
Right,
think.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have to look back and see what it is. Yeah.
It's gonna take quite a little bit of dirt to move there for sure, to put it where the high area is and to stay out of the wetlands, but I was gonna write in there, I hadn't wrote anything yet, but I was gonna write that it was gonna be
This is over by
determined.
Wayne Gergoyers?
It's
No, a different
between
spot?
Bill's house and Pat Valancourt Sugar House. There's
Oh,
there's a
over on-
field there. He's got a driveway that goes into that field now, but the property line where he subdivided it's just past that. So he's gonna keep the driveway that's there that goes into the field, it's fairly flat.
So the new driveway would be further towards Pat's
Towards
Sugar
Pat's
House.
Sugar House, yeah. But not as far as, closer to the Sugar House, it could come off the road fairly flat and then, you know, slope into the bank, but there's wetlands in that area, so the way I was gonna word it, that it would determine upon who buys it and how, where they're gonna position the house and want the driveway, and we could work on. It'd be better if they went towards the Sugar House more as far as visibility and access off the road, but with the wetlands there, they're telling them you can't put it there, but I don't know what they gotta do. Do you know, Jesse?
I don't know. Right now, it's a lot up in the air with wetland stuff, so I don't know.
So whether they can or not, I'm not sure if you can still go through the wetlands, you just gotta pay an extra fee or
I
what?
believe you gotta go, cause there's a situation on Water Tower Road with a lot that the village had, and they moved the curb cut 3 times because of wetlands, so. There might be an option to get out of it, but from what I was told, you gotta go around it, so.
Yeah, and there's a stake in the ditch, and he says, I can't. It gotta be between this area here. Well, if you get closer to the stake towards Pat Valancourt's is where the visibility is the best and far enough, and that's actually the high point in the ditch. So that you probably don't need a culvert, water can go both ways. But that's about where the bank's the steepest too, so it's just a matter, they're gonna have to move some earth. They're
Take the
thinking,
bank, you know.
take it back, take it back, take it back, and then slope it back. And put ditches in, probably stone line it or whatever needs to be done. It can happen, as long as it's not ledge. Well, then it can still happen, but you have to blast. And it could be ledge, because there's ledge in the, right by his house. So I hadn't wrote any conditions in there yet. This is just for him to get the parcel set to be sold, so depending upon what happens in the future and who buys it, as to where they may want the driveway in a different place, they may wanna try to access through the wetlands if they can, if that's an option, if they can even do it. And pay whatever they gotta pay. If they gotta go
But
around.
this one right here is basically out of the wetlands.
Yep,
So, in our, for us, it would be okay. But if it was gonna be relocated, if it came up again through the wetlands, we would need the paperwork. Say, hey, it's okay to go through this wetland from state or whoever.
yep.
So we wouldn't be liable to okaying something going over the wetland. But I think, like you said, if it's just a steep hill, people have somewhat steep hills, but as long as it's a safe entrance and exit
Yeah,
off the highway.
yeah. They can fix it so when it comes off the road, the water doesn't run out in the road. Most of them can't, so.
Yeah.
Most of them seem to struggle with that.
Is there a way to do it so you can say, yes, we'll give you a driveway permit, but we prefer it be over in this area? Is that probably not, that's not what you're asking for there, right?
Yeah,
This-
this is to get the parcel ready so he can do,
You can sell
Wouldn't
it.
that go through zoning?
the engineers
anyway,
can go
though,
in
if they went through the
and start
wetlands?
their process
The
with
building,
Is it like the next step?
yeah,
in the well, so they can get it set up so he can sell it. And
Joe.
apparently the state, somebody there from the state has been there and identified the wetlands and said you can put your driveway between here and there, but he did say if you wanted to go into the wetlands, it's gonna cost more, so I don't know how much more what that means, but.
I know anytime you start getting a wastewater permit right now, it automatically prompts a visit from the wetland folks. That's what's happening. Unless you have a pre-existing wastewater system in place, they may not come, but if it's a new wastewater system, that's when they show up, so. Does B71 standards have elevated grade, Joey? That's what
Yeah.
we have it, we just threw it on, this, it's
I
B71,
believe so.
yeah.
Now what happens if this 5-acre lot is subdivided again? With this,
I don't know, is that an option, Jesse, or is that, it is what it is?
If he subdivides again,
Like
end up with-
his intentions are to sell it with,
right,
for
One.
single residential home.
right, right.
And he's even gonna have some language in there as to where the
How far
house is
does
gonna
it
be, cause you don't wanna see
show?
the house.
Yeah.
off the
I
road.
said last he talked to me, he wanted to sell it as one, oh, he is, it's on the market as one 5-acre lot, so.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean a contractor couldn't.
Right.
Right, yeah, somebody could go with, yeah, oh, well, depending on where the wetlands are, how, you know, how much of that 5 acres is, you know, usable, you know, able to be developed, that may
Yeah.
change a lot of things in that 5
So
I
acres.
this
was
is just
wondering,
a
how much
preliminary.
control does Joey have on distance going in?
Well, that's
Feet?
what, that's what I was asking.
Because you could probably make a stipulation if we got control for 20 feet, 15, I don't know what it is. It's in a DRB handout somewhere, I don't know.
Would be to the edge of the right of way, and I think it gets actually defined as like a 4-rod right of way through there, so like 33 feet from the center of the road. Then after that.
Yeah, so
zoning-
that's,
zoning takes
so you
over
got
after that.
basically about 10 feet of driveway that you can tell them,
Well, after that, zoning should take over, so.
yeah.
B71 standards are 12% grade over a 50-foot section. No more than a 12% grade over a 50-foot section. So that's what we have in the bylaws, or the state's B71 standards.
To make that a condition or something when you put it,
Yeah.
refer to that.
And this is like for a single residential driveway, so if somebody else buys it and they decide I'm gonna subdivide and put 3 houses, 2 houses even, then this is all null and void there. It's gonna start over, because it just no longer fits what they're doing.
Right.
It'll become a shared driveway or a private road.
I just kinda look at it as over by the general store when West built.
Mm-hmm.
And that's up on the hill, and it was
We have
like,
to sign
Yeah.
that, right?
Well, we haven't made a motion yet, we gotta approve it first.
Yeah, I don't
so
think you can deny them having access.
Dean can-
Have some
Yes,
sort, you
got it.
just do the best you can, I guess.
you know,
And that's what that was. There's a
Um,
parcel and one place to build, and
one way in and out.
one way in and out.
you know,
Not a very good one.
Right.
I'll make a motion to accept the application for access right-of-way permit for, Charles and Rachel Patty at 3681 Tyler Branch Road.
now,
Yes. Right now.
All right, so So it's been moved and seconded to accept the driveway access at 3681 Tyler Branch Road for Bill and Rachel, or Charles and Rachel Patty. Any discussion?
Yeah, like I said, Joey just uses judgment on the,
Yeah, I'll have to put some language in there and talk to
Language.
Bill about it too, just make it understood that,
for the,
depends on what happens.
For the grade.
down road. 'Cause I don't think he plans on, I think what his, sounded like his plans originally were they were gonna build their own house there, to live there and then sell. And they've decided now, no, they don't wanna do that, they're getting old enough, they don't wanna deal with it, so they just wanna sell the land. Let somebody else do the hard work.
yeah.
Be good to encourage them if they could do it in a better spot. It'd be okay.
Yeah, with the wetlands there, I don't know, like I said, that's how he said, well, it costs more or whatever. So he said maybe the people that buy it will wanna have the driveway down further,
Yeah.
but,
We'd be open for that discussion.
like, yeah. I don't know how that all works with the wetlands people, so.
Not be any more than the excavation you gotta do to get it in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went to executive.
We haven't
Everybody
finished.
everybody in favor of accepting the driveway permit, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, nay? Passed. Alright. Good. Go ahead and executive.
Yeah, or if you wanna do them, I can just kick off the site here for a minute, and then if you wanna do that in the end. So the camera guy can.
Alright. Alright, thank you, Joe.
Alright, you guys are up.
Unless maybe they've gotta be an executive, we can do it all at one time.
I don't think so.
Thank you guys for picking up the
File cabinet?
cabinet today. Really appreciate it. You got an extra for you, Joy?
You all done with this thing?
Yes.
All right. So some items to go over tonight. Service updates. We had a great turnout with the Halloween trunk or treats that we attended. Very appreciative of the crews that attended that. We went to the Enosburgh trunk or treat, the Northwestern Medical Center, and then the Berkshire Elementary School. And all candy was distributed out. Thank you, BJ, for getting all that candy. It was a great turnout. They decorated the ambulances. The kids got to enjoy and see the crews. And the crews did a great job decorating, and the
It was a
costumes
fun
look
time.
up.
It was a fun time.
They did a great job with it, so we enjoyed that stuff, and it was a great turnout with it. And then also just a shout out to the crews. We've done multiple long distance transports over the past couple weeks. Crews have been to Boston, Connecticut, Maine, kind of all over the Northeast. So they,
Super.
they've been using that Unit 3 very well. Sorry, excuse me. So the Franklin contract is coming up due. I've outlined on the first page. Sorry about my voice, I just lost my voice. This is what a summary of our per capita budget that I put on a Excel spreadsheet. So comparing each town, if you look to the right, this is the annual increase that we do accordingly with each town. On average, it's about a 3% increase with each town that we cover. So if we're going through, I have the contract dates for each town that we have a contract with, the term of those contracts, when they start for each year and when they end, the current census for each town, because we do a per capita basis with our contracts, and then each year how much we charged based on per capita for our budget. The per capita rate on average is about a 3% increase for each town. They're all consistently about the same. Montgomery's a town that we have a 5-year contract with, along with Bakersfield. Franklin and Berkshire are the 2 towns that are coming up due for contracts. They are on 3-year terms. Berkshire's contract ends on March 31st of next year, and Franklin's contract ends on June 30th of next year. So those are 2 items to discuss that I want to discuss with you guys tonight. I brought copies of their current contracts that we hold to go over with you guys. And these are the rates that we've charged over the past 3 years for each town.
We kinda wanna do this in executive? I think we should. Just,
Well, this part was fine, but when you go into the numbers, it's
Yep.
yeah,
Percentages is one thing, start doing numbers.
Yeah. So before we dive into that, these are the numbers that we're that we're averaging. Are there any questions with this?
Are you looking to do 3 or 4?
I would love to do a 5-year contract with them. Moving forward, each town, I'd like to do a 5-year contract with them, if we can, kind of depending on the town.
That's
I think, if we do it similar to Montgomery's there, it's Franklin's right in line with them, and Berkshire's just a little bit behind.
okay. This looks like you've been contracts have been very fair.
Franklin, I went to their select board meeting in October. We didn't specifically talk about numbers or the contract directly, but they did ask for me to have a contract proposal for them ready for their first meeting in December. So that's why I want to cover that with you guys tonight. And then our next meeting, we come up with a finalized contract to present to them. And then we send it to Berkshire.
I think it would be good, yeah, same with Berkshire too.
Yeah.
Good. That sounds like a great plan. Do we wanna come back to this and then
We can.
we'll actually go through everything else?
Up to you guys.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just do the other stuff and then maybe come back to that if anybody's got comments on that. Okay.
For you guys? Okay. We are going to skip ahead a little bit to our next item, which is a lab tech. So that would be this page. So a lab tech is the software system we use for our scheduling and for our payroll. I've had good luck with them. Their system's fairly easy to use. It's very intuitive. So everything's included when I'm doing the scheduling. It also allows our time clock system. So we're paying people appropriately and tracking everything so I can submit it to BJ. We renew with them every year in January. Their sales rep reached out to me and notified me that they're trying to switch to 5-year contracts with their services. On the next page, he sent me a quote of what the term of the 5-year contracts include. So if you don't go into a multi-year contract with them, that's the first table that's on the page. It's a standard uplift of 6% each year when you're not into a 5-year contract with them. So our next invoice would be $5,004.26. The year after that, it would increase by $300. So essentially each year it's increasing by $300. If you go into a multi-year contract with them, the amount they charge, so basically they give you a deal for doing the contract with them. We get a discounted uplift with them. Essentially, after the 5 years, we're still less than what it would be in year 1 of not having a
Quite
contract
the
with them.
incentive, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a real person you're talking with?
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone.
I really would question that name if I was getting bills from somebody like that.
I did. I talked to him on the phone. He called me about a month ago. He sent me the quote in price for the contract, and then I told him I would speak to you guys about it before I get back to him. But this is what they're looking to do. So I wanted to go over this with you guys first.
Have you seen any cons? Like, I know there's a lot of positives about it, but have you seen anything? I said con.
One.
Have
That was
you
the
seen
name
any
of the guy that did
negatives about?
So the one negative I would say about the system, there are portions of the system that I have to manipulate to work for our service. So like the payroll reports that I pull, I do have to adjust them so that way it matches how we run our payroll system. Essentially what I mean by that is when they categorize our pay codes, so like we have unit 2 emergency that's paid at double time, unit 2 transfers that's paid at time and a half. They list the columns out, but I have to merge what's scheduled to what's in the time clock system.
So there's no wiggle room for customization, like through
A
them?
little,
Oh.
not great, but a little, yeah. And then the scheduling, we do hour increments, you can change to half-hour increments, but the problem with that, once you change to one thing, you can't go back.
Really?
Yeah. So
I wonder if
that
they
is the
do
con to it.
enhancements or feedback session, you know, just.
They do, and the one thing that I have talked to them about is they don't have an app, but they said they're developing one in March,
Okay,
so,
but there's
Hopefully.
more positives than negatives.
yeah.
Okay.
They do most of their work online. They do it right to the computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hook into your computer.
And they did build a portion of this system to what fits our needs. It's not the perfect system in the world, but they did adapt it a little bit to our needs, what we use for this service. Because each department, they do it for multiple departments throughout the country. So there's a little bit of customization you can do to it, but only so much. You worked with the lad tech quite a bit. Any thoughts with it?
No, it's nice that they like custom bill us for what we use versus what we don't use. I mean, they could kind of be jerks and just
Right.
bill us a flat rate
Right.
for, you know, if we don't use half of their website.
And I think it does more than what they're, you know, it's not just the time clock program. It's like keeps track of each individual person.
Yes.
And their credentials and what they need coming up for recertification and stuff.
It allows me to keep track of vacation time, sick time, rate checks are done inside that, incident reports, injury reports. That's all incorporated in that system. So basically, no, that's okay.
We're a pretty small service. Another service I work for uses it where I don't know all the employees. This website allows me to go in and look at the employee, look what cert they are, also their email and their phone number. So if I'm on shift with someone and I need to reach out to them for like my shift tomorrow, I have no idea who they are.
Right.
It allows me to go in and be like, oh, Garrett, never met Garrett before, I'll shoot him a text and that way we can communicate.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sounds good. Sounds like it's got a lot of good
Yeah.
things.
I've looked at other systems, like, I know my wife works for the hospital and they use When to Work. And I've used When to Work in the past before, which is a great system when it comes to scheduling, but they don't incorporate the payroll portion of it, or the time clock portion of it. Something I'm familiar with, when I worked in college we used it, but I like that we have the ability to do the time clock and the payroll report too.
So for you guys, this system sounds like the best fit compared to any of the competitive
Yeah.
systems.
Yeah, for fitting our needs, definitely. I've looked at When to Work for us, and it just doesn't have the same, as many features as this does.
Yeah. And cost-wise,
Because it has less features, When to Work is a little cheaper. I won't say that much cheaper, but it is a little bit cheaper.
Then you need to notify them by when.
Before January.
Well, you just get it over with. Like it?
I like it.
I'll move
For the
for the
second
role on
one?
the ad tech. Yep.
Log check renewal of a 5-year
A
contract.
5-year contract, oh yeah. Save some money.
That's what we're looking to do.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded to renew the log tech for the 5-year contract. Any discussion?
Is it annual payment? What is it?
Annual payment.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Everybody in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It passes, that's good. Good. Nice.
The next item,
Tom, thanks for the 5-year deal.
right, exactly. I'll talk to him tomorrow. The only portion I don't know is they'll probably need a signature for the agreement of the contract. I don't know if that has to come from me or if it has to come from the select board.
Here we go. tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. So I hear from them all too.
Oh, where you guys gonna be?
We're busy.
I'm probably gonna come in real quick and vote and then go back out and spread poop.
Is that something you'll still work with them though, Garrett, on, like, or are they have done as much of the customization for that payroll piece that they can? Like, because now that you do a 5-year contract, maybe, you know, they'll work a little bit more.
Right. So they do change the system pretty regularly with updates. So the one thing I will give them credit is they do take feedback from everybody very well. And they actually do a monthly webinar to take discussion. So I've attended a few of them where it's people from all over the country that are like, hey, is this a compatibility or possibility of adjusting things to this?
Or they can just make something for
Right.
Enosburgh.
Exactly. As they kind of change their software and do their
Right.
software updates, it does open up more things kind of each month.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up on that.
Oh, yeah,
Getting it more what you really need,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and BJ kind of knows what I'm talking about. When I format the Excel spreadsheet perfect, but when I
'Cause that
send it
is
to her,
time-consuming, you
it
know.
comes up as a kind of convoluted thing that she has to
Uh,
fix, but
That's better than
That's
what we
Excel.
had before.
this is true.
That's true.
Cool.
Alright.
So the next thing, we do have a bunch of paramedics that are coming up due for recertification on their ACLS and PALS licensure. So ACLS is Advanced Cardiac Life Support, and PALS is Pediatric Advanced Life Support. That is a requirement for us to carry with our licensure at the paramedic level. I worked with Billy, who received a quote from Michael Roberge. He is a paramedic on Missisquoi Valley Rescue, and he actually works with a training center and teaches these courses. He quoted us $600 for a total of 8 paramedics for ACLS and $600 for 8 paramedics for PALS. We have 9 paramedics, one of which I know won't be able to attend. So I allotted for 8. Realistically, it's going to be less than that. But I just anticipated on the high end just in case that does happen. Price-wise, this is pretty fair. At Amcare, we had somebody who came in and did 10 of us, and that was at $1,500 for that. So price-wise, I thought it was pretty fair for what he was charging us. And then with this, Billy is participating in the class to get his ACLS and PALS instructor recertification renewed. So he can then teach our classes, and we won't have to pay for it.
So you're talking $1,200 in all to do
Correct. Yep.
8 people.
Yep. Correct.
1,400.
To do that, you'll need to turn off airplane mode.
Or go fly a kite.
We're always listening.
I even had on airplane mode.
But yeah.
Is there a scheduled date or anything like that on that? Or we don't know yet?
Basically, it's just to know if this is an acceptable price and you're okay with that, and
What was
then
14? Where'd you go?
we just
Oh,
have to
I-
have it before March. That's when all of us are due. So we're looking at like December, January timeframe
Okay.
to get us all renewed.
Yeah, I'll move.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to do the class for the ACLS and PALS for the 8 paramedics at $1,200 cost. Any discussion? Seeing none, everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Patients will say here, I'll be saying to someone from one of the other services wants to come down on this certification.
That would be fine. We wouldn't cover the expense for them though.
Right, but I mean, we could charge more.
If it was our own instructor doing it, yes. For Michael, we couldn't because it's his own.
We're not
Oh.
charging, they're
Right.
charging.
Right, but
He could charge them.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave it to you, try to figure out.
How are we making money on this? I like that. When we get Billy restarted, that's when Billy's actually working on turning us into a NMETC training center. So then we would be able to teach courses here open to the state. So it would include ACLS PALS. He's already gearing up to do an EMT course that starts January? No, November.
November
No,
14th.
yeah, this
Oh,
one.
I saw that.
Oh, it's for the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
week then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up
Yeah.
pretty quickly. Yeah.
So he's got
How
that
many
coming up.
people are enrolled in that?
He opened it to 15 and now he's up to 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great.
For them. Good.
And it's people from all over because it's a hybrid format, so it seems to work a little bit better for people. So it'll be a little revenue generator. But yeah, he's working on that. And then before we talk about the contracts, I'll give Kyra credit. She's worked very hard on this. We haven't done something for our employees in a while, and we're looking to do some kind of holiday thing for them. I'm not much of a holiday guru. She's much better at this than I am. So she's been working to see what we could do for our employees, including like a small holiday party or even possibly a holiday gift. So she's received some quotes from businesses around the area to see what we could do. And she wants to present that to you guys tonight.
So I'm not only new to the service, within this month will be my 1 year I've been in Enosburgh, but the general area too, so I'm not familiar with everyone's faces. No BJ, of
Yeah.
course, but I was like,
Jessica Eagles.
Larry Jarvis.
Larry Jarvis. I know your brothers very well.
Dean Wright.
Say that again?
Dean Wright.
Dean Wright.
Kyoto.
Pierre. I'm okay, I know you guys. We've spoken a few times. Okay, so yeah, one of the things that I like to do, I really enjoy coming to work. This is a very high stress environment when we get certain types of calls. And with high stress, it gets high emotions and people can get drained very quickly. But with that, we like to support each other and have as much enjoyment as we can with helping the community, doing the events. The Halloween events were one of my favorite things that I got to do this year. So with that, I wanted to do something, basing it off of what Fire has done. They do a little yearly banquet, I believe. So taking that model and hopefully implementing it for our service with our employees as kind of a thank you for all the hard work, the stressful calls, the picking up last minute shifts, the going on those long transports, because those are tedious, but they can be so fun. But it's a long time. So looking just to kind of give back in whatever way that we kind of can. With that, the idea would be a yearly banquet. I've spoken to Lise, and Stonebrook, she has offered to donate the space and her staffing. The only thing that we would pay for would be the food, whether that be a plated meal or a buffet. On here in the packet that I have missed up with the order, there is a Dairy Center catering list. The goal would be to go with a buffet style, as that's easier for people to go back up and, you know. So she's working on an official quote for me because Lisa's been doing a lot of other things. Until then, though, I quoted as if on the high end of things, expecting definitely less, because not every member will go, not every member will bring a +1. And with the highest buffet style until we kind of finalize what we want. So 50 people is a rough estimate with $21.95 a person. That brings us out to $1,097.50 before their tax and gratuity that she's mentioned down there. And again, that is at the very high end of what we'd be expecting to come. That would be hopefully December 14th. It's a Saturday. With it being at Stonebrook, our on-duty crew, whoever is voluntarily working that shift, holiday parties aren't meant for everybody. Some people just prefer not. But they can still be there, stop by, while being in the area to still respond to 911s and cover our service areas. I don't have a designated time yet, and it's still in the works, but that is something that I was looking to see if that was an idea that we could move forward on with the financing for. The second portion of that is, at this event, we would like to give a thanks, a holiday gift to all of our service members, just our service members. That holiday gift, I've talked to a lot of ideas with people, not something that's a blanket that people throw in the corner sometimes, not a keychain that nobody remembers to put on their keys and it breaks, but a functional gift that our members can use constantly, whether you're traveling, coming in as an overnight shift for us. We have the personal organizer toiletry bags from LL Bean. You can obviously bring it when you're traveling, bring it at shifts. It's just something that some of our members have a really old version from when they worked at Amcare. They said it was a huge hit, they liked it, they're quality and durable. And with that, in the paper, you'll see that there's a quote attached for 25 of them. That would bring the items to $873.75. The last portion with that idea of the holiday gift, in the packet is 2 quotes, one from Grizzly Graphics and one from Mountain View, of what it would cost to put our embroidery on it. It would be our Star of Life logo. It would just go on the front so you know it's from Enosburgh. And so with those 2 quotes, Grizzlies was at $200 for all of it, and Mountain View was sitting at $485 to do those. So just kind of, so you could compare the prices of that. With the holiday gift idea,
So that was what this total would be in the front, would be the,
so that plus the holiday gift would be the total price.
So you're embroidering that gift?
Yes, embroidering the toiletry bag just with the Star of Life. Yep, just that portion, not the writing. Theoretically, say we went with Grizzly Graphics due to the price. It would come out in total, it would be $1,073.75 for the holiday gift and the embroidery. With the holiday gift, embroidery, and the high estimate for the yearly banquet, it would be $2,171.25 before the tax and gratuity that would be added upon. We do have the date for it that I'd be looking to do the banquet was completely open, so it's not a huge pressing to get that locked in right now, but places are calling around. The part that I am looking at is with doing the toiletry bags, we have to order it, so accounting for shipping and the embroidery, the idea would be able to hand it out at said banquet if that would be a thing. So timing is just a little more tight on that aspect. But that's what I got, and I'm open to questions. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
Thanks.
And I think it's great that Lisa's offering to do, I mean, that's
That's
huge.
fantastic. That's her. It's
Yeah.
not only just the facility, but then her staffing as
Yeah,
well. She has to
that's
pay for
always
that.
good. Yeah, that's very good.
From what I've been told, she's super sweet with that stuff. She helps out the fire department a lot. So being able to bring our service to her as well, I think would be really nice. Instead of going with a different company. Plus, we all enjoy the Dairy Center. Breakfast, lunch.
And it would just be a +1.
It's just a +1, yep.
Okay.
So I'm actually working on members reaching out, are you interested? If you are, would you bring +1 or am I counting on just you? So people are slowly trickling with their numbers. That'll be closing soon. I have about 5 more people to reach out to before I can get the best quote from Lisa on that.
But you went with the high end, so that was good.
Yeah, just in case. But we will definitely not end up with 50 people at the yearly banquet. No, we're not. I can tell you we're not.
Maybe surprised.
Oh, biscuits, I would be very surprised.
What did you say the total was again, when you put them all three together?
With all three put together, and I'm sorry, I probably should have made a copy of that portion.
It's okay.
With everything put together before tax and gratuity, the total for the gifts, the embroidery, and the banquet is $2,171.25 on the high end, before tax and gratuity. And tax was marked at 9% on her menu, and the gratuity was marked at 15% on her menu.
Yeah, I'll move.
And you would like to see this be like a yearly
That would be the
tradition?
goal, is I would love to just do kind of a yearly, hey, thanks for this year, however it's been, however much support you were able to put in, and just as a kind of a little, hey, thanks. That would be the goal. Along with, the goal would be that I like doing all three of those Halloween events. And we have holiday parades coming up.
Yep.
Are you moving for the ordering the gifts or for everything?
Might as well put it together.
Okay. Yeah, I'll second.
How many people did Lee say she could handle? Did she give a?
She didn't give me a definite number
Oh,
of how
still,
many she can handle.
She can handle,
Uh-huh.
she can handle over 100.
I say I think fire usually has more than us
You
as
could,
well.
you can consider other departments too, that's all I'm saying.
Oh,
As in, are you saying like combining them?
Well, we don't, you guys have one
Yeah, we haven't,
for the
Yeah.
fire department?
yeah, we haven't picked a date yet.
But you don't have, the highway doesn't have one,
No.
we don't have one, DRB doesn't have one. I'm just saying, we talked about this in the past and it never really took into fruition. Just food for thought.
I know in the past, the town's done kind of an employee as a whole. We'd be talking a lot more than probably 50 people at that point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think for this year, I think it's definitely a good start, so. So I seconded, I don't know.
Is there any more discussion on this? Any discussion on it? It's been moved and seconded to have the ambulance holiday banquet and their bags for and gifts and the embroidering. Be a total of, give or take, 2,200 plus tax and gratuity. So, any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Sounds like a great idea.
Thank you guys, I appreciate that.
One thing I was wondering on that is, does the Dairy Center or lease, do they have ambulance, do they buy the
Subscription?
subscription?
I'll have to look back. I want to say they do, but I'll have to double
I
check.
wonder if you don't give them one instead of them buying it for doing this.
That could be an easy trade for
Right.
sure,
I
absolutely.
mean, it's kind of
A
nice.
nice little thank you for saying hey, we
Right.
appreciate
Because
it.
the other thing, Lisa isn't gonna be able to do this too many more years either.
Right,
Yes,
right. Just a thought.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely fair.
I don't know what the rest of the board.
No, that's
thinks.
great. You can even do it right at, at
Yeah.
the banquet, so it's.
I'll go back on the in my books and see if they did one this year. I want to say they did. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing their name.
I like how you kind of solicit, you like reached out to for the, it's useful, it's practical,
Well, I try, sometimes.
Although I do have
sometimes
tons of
it's-
blankets.
I do too, but I asked
They are
around as
important.
well.
I have one of those,
I think traveling, not just work, but at work, when you come in overnight, you're trying to get like all
I think
6
it's
of
a
your
good idea,
overnight things.
yeah.
I got one from
Definitely
Ampere
thoughtful.
like 7 years ago, and I still have it.
Yeah, there you go.
Everywhere with me.
No, I totally get that.
you,
They
I
are nice.
appreciate that.
It's good.
Now you can have your pen back, I promise
Oh,
I'll give it
thanks.
back.
is the rest executive.
Do you have any more?
I believe so. Yep.
The rest of yours would be executive. Yeah.
I'll make the motion to go into executive session. Would that be covering both Joey's and,
So,
both on personnel, well, personnel, municipal.
Personnel issues.
Contracts.
We're assuming that's what you're using.
Yes, I think he did say that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to go into executive and discussion on that.
Trevor, what is the next day that you work?
Tomorrow.
Okay, see no discussion, all those in favor going into executive for contract and employee
Just let me know when you.
personnel information detrimental to the
The daily total is usually 1,200.
Public.
So
Say
it
aye.
should be fine.
Aye.
Alright,
Yeah.
But just
Any
give me a
opposed?
heads up and I'll tell the bank just in case.
And we're
Just-
in executive at 7:30.
And I can do that Wednesday.
Okay.
Thank you.